we was just sitting down and guarding. We had a lot of guys sitting down, locking in with that mindset that we had to defend. Guys like Sean, he did a great job on the ball and off the ball. Shaq, Rams, all the guys. And I'm just proud of everybody.
Till, I guess to follow up on that, you guys go into that timeout. You guys were down 9. I think it was around the 10-minute mark or so. I guess what was kind of the huddle? What was the mood in the huddle? What was said to kind of spark? I think you went on a 12-2 run right after that.
I think everybody know the mindset. Like, we fight for our lives. Our back against the wall. We trying to get to the tournament, so we just had to pick it up a notch. We came out flat, but we had to bounce back, and we did.
Go to the Tanner in the second row to the player's right.
Sean, that two-handed dunk on the fast break, you seemed a little amped up after that. Tell me, what was that emotion like?
It's just, we was catching back up. We started finding our groove, and that happened in the moment of finding our groove, and that's just going to give us energy all around so we can play hard.
Go Theo front row to the player's left.
Totally. Coach Jan says he doesn't talk to you guys too much about, the NCAA tournament field, making the tournament. Do you guys follow that as players individually, Quad 1, all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I talk about it all the time. It's my last year. I'm trying to go over the bang, so, yeah, I think about it a lot. I try not to talk about it before the game, but it's hard not to.
We'll stay front row with Steph, and then we'll go to Paul.
You guys had that stretch. You had that dunk, you had a layup, and then DJ had the dunk. In transition, it seemed like when things were really clicking for y'all, it was defense kind of leading to offense. I guess how much has this team bought into that mentality of knowing that when the defense is working, the offense is going to come?
No, well, we mainly focus ourselves on defense, so we know if we play defense, then the offense will come. If you can stop somebody from scoring, you don't have to worry about going down the square every time as long as you can play defense.
Paul, go ahead.
Totally take you back to the Florida game, and I've asked Coach Jans about this, and he said we'd be better off asking you about it. So here we are. Coach had you on the bench in the final minutes of that game, and McNair finished up. And ever since then, you've been on a tear, whether it's scoring or rebounding. Just take us through that moment, and obviously how you've responded.
That game, I was just like, whatever it takes to win. I feel like in any game, it's whatever it takes to win. Whether I'm on the bench, cheer my teammates on, or on the court, producing, but. Nah, honestly, I don't know if it was that, but I think that did help me a little bit, put a little motor in my back. So,
go ahead, Danny P.
Dolo, just talk about this team where it seemed like at any time somebody else different steps up, maybe Eric or or just anybody, and just talk about how fun it is to see all your teammates just kind of do their thing out there.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to see the work being put out. I see everybody put the work in every day. This guy right here puts a lot of work in and is converting. So just to keep doing what we're doing, keep working, and it's going to show.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Steph and then Jack and then back to the cameras to wrap it up.
For both you guys, Coach Jans was obviously pretty pumped up himself. There at the end, kind of really emotional on the sidelines. What's it like for you guys to see kind of, all his hard work kind of pay off as well and see the fans kind of rally around him a bit?
Jans, he gonna bring the energy when it's time. He know how to keep us in line and also bring the energy. And we know if we play hard, then we'll get the side we want from him, the positive side, the playing hard, the excitement from him. And that's what we play for, is to see him happy.
So it seemed like they were doing a good job doubling you in the post kind of early on, but your guards get going, Shaq kind of gets hot. Did you feel like that the guards getting going kind of opened up some things for you in the second half?
Yeah, I say we knew the monster was coming early, and they were coming off the big man. And Cameron was diving every time, so we got a lot of looks. Whether he bring the defense in or it was be an outside pass, so just had to make the right read and not turn the ball over.
Go back to the back and the cameras to wrap it up.
Tolu, you said you keep up with Quad 1 and kind of where you are in the bracketology scheme of things. Does that give you a boost going into a game like today, knowing that it's a really big opportunity for y'all to kind of solidify your spot in the tournament field? Oh,
yeah, no doubt. I definitely had the same mindset in every game, but just this one had a little more oomph to it, and even the next one, which is like a senior night, right? So. Yeah. I hope that everybody comes out, support. We need everybody, all the fans to come out. It's my last game at home, so I would love for everybody to show their face.
Coach, Gordon hit that three, and they went up 44-35. You called a timeout, and from that point on, I think you guys responded with a 12-2 run, and they have one field goal in the last over 14 minutes of the game. What was kind of said in that huddle during that timeout?
It was just time to regroup. we talked at halftime that they weren't going to go anywhere. There's a reason they're 13-2 in the SEC and had won 8 in a row. They're a tough-minded group, got great culture. They play the right way, and didn't necessarily want it to be quite that strong out the gates, but we didn't get out of the second half very well. I'm not sure why, but we didn't. So obviously it was time to regroup, and like you said, they responded, especially defensively. We got a bunch of stops in a row and got out in transition a little bit, and then once that happened, I mean, the crowd was huge. I mean, they played a vital role in our comeback and for us to win that game. If we're on the road like that, and the other team's crowd is into the game when they come out of the halftime break and do that, I'm not sure at this point if you can win that game, but I'm thankful for the hump and the people that showed up and willed us back in the game.
The success you guys have had this month, I mean, there's been a lot of tight games like this where you were on the right side as opposed to being on the wrong side in January. I guess, what's it been like for you to kind of watch your guys grow up in those situations in real time?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's rewarding. Like you said, we had plenty of close games earlier and weren't on the correct side of the ledger when the final buzzer went off. But like anything in life, you can't teach experience. And for whatever reason, our group had to go through some tough experiences to learn and grow, and they did that. And we've talked, probably too much about, that time when we handled it and got to the other side, but certainly makes you feel good about doing what you do, and they respond like that and stuck with the process, and now they're being rewarded for it.
We'll go second row to coaches left and Jack.
Obviously, there was a lot of fouls called in the second half. I know that can be difficult sometimes as a defense, when things aren't going your way. I guess just talk about how well your defense played, just kind of responding, to some of that.
Yeah, I thought for the most part, our defense was really, really good. Obviously, it's something that we hang our hat on. Everybody knows that by now, and it has to be there for us each and every possession, or we're going to struggle a lot of times. And for the most part, I thought we were on point and got to scout in the game, and guys were flying around, and the free throw line is something that A&M just dominates. I think they lead the country in made free throws, and at halftime we felt really good because we had out free throw attempted them, I think 12-4 if I'm not mistaken. And then when the second half unfolded and there was a bunch more fouls, like you said, that made us nervous because, we're obviously not one of the better free throw shooting team in the country, and they are one of the better free throw shooting teams. So fortunately, we made enough there down the stretch, and we kept them off the line.
We'll go second row to coaches right into Tanner.
Coach, you talk about guys flying around. Sean Jones looks more and more comfortable every time he steps on the floor. Talk about what it's been like to see him grow into this new role with these minutes.
Yeah, he looks like a vet now. He looks like he just belongs out there, and he's just got so many natural instincts. I can't take much credit for how he's playing right now. He's just so long and rangy, and he's got a feel for what's going on, and he's got some anticipation of getting his hands on balls, and certainly his wingspan and length helps him do that. But he's getting more comfortable on the offensive end and finding his spots, and he's got a lot of confidence. Against Missouri the other day, he jumped up minute 42 and jacked up a three that maybe was a little bit early, but he believed in himself and shot it, and that's always a good thing when they have confidence in themselves.
We'll go front row to Paul and then back to Steph.
Obviously, you knew coming in it was going to be a grinded-out type game because of how A&M is, and you guys are on defense. But last home game you had, or a big environment against Kentucky, and you had a slow start. I think they were out 11-2 or 33-17. How important was it to get that boost from Shaq and other play early on to show momentum early and to get that good start?
The first 10, 12 minutes, that's as good an offensive basketball as we may have played all year long. We were executing on the offensive end in terms of just how we want to play, and the ball was moving, and we were playing inside out. We were hitting a couple of rhythm threes, and obviously it came to a halt for the rest of the game, and then we struggled. And then they started going back and forth between their matchup and their man, and that's hard to do sometimes, and I thought our guys handled it pretty well. But certainly getting out of the gates and getting the crowd into it, and then just getting confident coming off a loss on the road, and making sure everybody felt good about this particular game. I know that helped our team.
Steph, go ahead, and then we'll go to Brian.
Coach, Cam this month is shooting 83% from the free throw line and probably even better than that kind of in the second half of these games. How have you seen him kind of develop from being a glue guy to someone who you really trust late in game situations?
Well, I'm not sure if I trust him if he tries to throw another alley-oop to Tolu. I about lost my mind. And I love Cameron Matthews. We've already had a little discussion about it in the training room. I was a little worried that when he did that and then he got fouled that maybe his confidence would have been a little bit shook. And then when that first ball went in, I felt really good about him being at the line. And, like you said, he's become a guy that isn't just a defender rebounder. He's facilitating the break. He's a guy that we run stuff for late game to ensure he gets fouled because he does have a lot of confidence in himself. And obviously his teammates do as well because they're finding him. And everybody knows, when you got a guy or two that can knock down some free throws late, it makes everybody feel better.
You had a stretch where you lost 7 out of 8. Now you're in a stretch where you've won 7 out of 9. Obviously, you've been a lot more efficient offensively in that stretch. But beyond that, is there an overriding factor that's made your team better during that stretch?
I'm not smart enough to figure all that out, but what I do know, it's a lot more fun to win 7 out of 9 than it does the first part of that question. But, listen, I was proud of my team then. We had plenty of fight in us. We came out on the short end of the stick, and they just kept staying together. They kept together. They kept working, and they're reaping the dividends of it now. And I said it once, and I'm going to repeat it. I just don't know if we win this game if we don't have that kind of crowd. I don't know if we win this game if they don't get into the game the way they did and almost will us to get out in front and make the other team call timeouts. And I thought that's I don't think you can place as much significance on that as how valuable it was.
Last question to Dana P, and then we'll go Coach Williams in here.
Coach, we talked about Sean already, but talk about, Eric hits a big 3 in the first half and scored some more, and you get some big games from those guys at times. Then Tyler steps up in some games. Just talk about at any given night, some of these guys can just step up at any time for you.
Yeah, that's kind of been, part of our equation is, different guys are stepping up, and not necessarily always in the scoring department. I thought Will McNair gave us really good minutes. He was so vocal on the bench. He helps all of us. He really sees the game so well. Things that you guys wouldn't understand unless you were down there on the bench or at our shoot-arounds. And Eric Reed, he's become a guy down the stretch that we sub for to get him on the floor to, play defense or in this case tonight, play offense down the stretch when Shaq was in foul trouble. So if you're going to end up having a good season, you need guys to step up in different nights.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you Monday.